Hello everyone and welcome to Hats Off. I'm your host, an inciting incident, D'Angelo Edwards. Animation is an incredibly hard job. Hundreds of people and thousands of hours of work go into making just a few minutes of this stuff. And people just don't appreciate it. It might seem easy from the outside looking in, but trust me, it's not. You see this right there? 10 weeks and $7 million, and that was before color. If you have friends that animate, check on them. They are not okay.
Animation is so hard! People who do this for a living deserve more credit and respect!
But seriously though, this stuff takes ages, and that's with a full team. So what if I told you that a full-length 2D hand-drawn animated movie was made by essentially one dude? I'd say you were full of it. I was just gonna lie about it, but then I found out it actually existed. Nova Seed is the result of 4 years and 60,000 frames of animation, all done by one man, Nick DeLiberato. I am sorry for butchering your name. Not all the storyboards, not all the character animation, all of the animation. The entire thing, in addition to the story. But all of that effort would ring a little hollow if the end result wasn't any good. So how does Nova Seed fare in the quality department? Well, I'm happy to say that while not the most deep movie around, Nova Seed is an epic love letter to the animation giants of the 80s. You can tell that this was inspired by the gritty look of that style of animation, plus the TV shows that were on around that time like G.I. Joe and Thundercats. So follow me as I take my hat off to Nova Seed. Also, I want this on record that I covered this before Saberspark. You can't have all the fairy movies. The moment this movie starts, you know what you're about to get into. TV screens flicker to life as scenes of the apocalypse play out. Mind-controlling creatures, natural disasters, and a rising threat known as the Neo-Animals are rising. And it's all the work of one mysterious individual, Dr. Mindskull. Yeah, say it again. Dr. Mindskull. That just feels good to say. A classic villain, just dumb enough. Art. The main plot of the movie sees Knack, a lion man, being set free from his gladiatorial prison to fight Dr. Mindskull, instead finding a girl that he feels a strange connection to, and trying to take her somewhere where both of them can be safe. But the girl hides a mysterious power, and everyone wants her. So along the way, he is targeted by the army, bounty hunters, and Dr. Mindskull himself, leading to an hour of gorgeous visuals and action-packed scenes. If you come into this movie looking for a deep plot, you might be a little let down. This is a movie that lives for cool set pieces and flashy action. It doesn't have a bad story, just kind of a basic one. It kind of feels like watching a kid play with his toys. Do you remember when you would play with your action figures, smashing them together? The cool story that will be playing out in your head as you did it? That is this movie. But the basic story is definitely held up by the visuals. This movie feels like a blacklight poster come to life. The colors are streaked with bright yellows, greens, and purples. All of the characters have simple yet memorable designs, with the only complex one being Dr. Mindskull, with wires and baubles all around him, and his menacing skull face. Wait a sec.
It's the Mr. Skullhead Show, starring in Mr. Skullhead.
And the animation is so cool. It feels like it was ripped straight from the 80s, like a missing segment from Heavy Metal. Though the ink and paint was done digitally, all of the animation was drawn on paper, which gives it some of that jank that I love that computers just can't replicate. You can tell that this thing was a labor of love. And the backgrounds are also worth praising. Although the story is basic, the background storytelling shows the story of a long past war, or possibly just the remains of a war still being fought. You see ruined vehicles, Skeletons of things not quite human, not quite beast. Kinda reminds me of the aftermath of Rainforest. And the whole time, you wonder who had caused all of this. Cause this couldn't all just be Dr. Mindskull. It's a very easy world to get immersed in, and its world building is easily my favorite part. Nova Seed tells the story of an Earth that has progressed in a very different way. Priorities put into violence rather than bettering society. That's why they still use CRTs, and yet they still have fully functioning laser guns. The creator said that he doesn't see Nova Seed as a look into the future, but rather a look into a future. One where violence will rule all until something comes along to stop it. And in Nova Seed, that something was Knack. It was a simple story, not of good versus evil, but of a clash of wills. There are a few twists and turns, so I won't spoil anything. But there are some interesting themes brought up over like what's stronger, creation or destruction. But in all honesty, I'm really just impressed. This man spent 4 years of his life making a movie by hand, with barely any help. I can barely get out of bed to make a YouTube video, and this dude made a movie. This just goes to show you that passion goes a long way. You can't just be skilled to make something like this. You gotta have a will of steel to stick with it as well. And this guy did it. And although it's a bit simple in story, the execution and the heart makes it well worth taking my hat off to. And now that that's done, I only have one thing left to say. Now that I got the furries, I'm coming for Scooby-Doo next, Billiam!